To today in the news on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshaki. Let's go straight to the front pages of the dailies and we start with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Rivers. Tinubu wades in. Wike Fubara meets. Greet in Abuja. Rivers government denies the sack of chief judge, 23 local government chairmen and others. PDP asks fielding party members to sheath their swords. Dispute in Rivers has been resolved. That's coming from PDP governors. Thank Tinubu for intervening. Police arrest Rivers NYCN chair. 15 pro-Fubara supporters. Youth maintain occupation of government house gates. You can see that story on page 5 and on page 12. Nigerians have taken steps backward to remain a country. That's coming from Ayahuku. And here there's a picture showing the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, governor of Adamawa State, Ahmed Fintiri, governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, chairman PDP Governors Forum, Bauchi State Governor, Senator Bala Mohammed. Also, we have a PDP National Chairman Aliu Damago and others. Now, on page 8, we want to return but can't. That's coming from Recalled Envoys. Killings. Benue governor begs for more military presence and equipment. Electricity. Operators seek cost reflective tariff as subsidies eat 3.34 trillion naira. And Febo Babalola on page 22 says, I am of the view that a single 6-year term for political office holders should be introduced in Nigeria. A single 6-year tenure can enable our leaders to focus on the task of governing rather than spending all the time preparing for the next election. On page 8, PDP governors welcome Supreme Court judgment, slam contradictory ruling on Plateau. And on sport, Olympics 2024 qualifiers, Super Falcons trash Utopia 4-0. You can see that on page 31, stories above on page 19. No plan to redominate Naira. This according to CBN. Zenith Bank's gross earnings jump 114% to 1.33 trillion Naira. And lastly here, we have Fidelity Bank wins Export Finance Bank of the Year award. You can see that on page 20. Now, the nation. The nation is leading with Fubara Wike field. Tinubu PDP governors praise president for intervention in crisis. Freedom for judiciary. Supreme Court verdict has closed 2023 elections. NEDC lifts victims of Maduguri market fire with 2 billion naira. Stories above. BAYELSA Imo KOGI 2023. Court of Appeal restores Tinubu Silva to the ballot. Ensure peaceful poll. During urges security agencies. Rising insecurity in KOGI worries SDP. APC running mate under fire. Nachacha is Kogi's central senator. And lastly on the nation, motion on injunction. Court fires Ayedatiwa. A case adjourned to November 7. Now, The Guardian, here it's leading with MDA's firm strong local data centers, spends cars FX abroad, come in Rivers as Tinubu negotiates a ceasefire in Wike Fubara field. You can see that on page 6. Hashtag NSAS, NHRC receives panel report from 16 out of 29 states. 16.25 trillion naira lost to oil theft. $74.386 billion spent on fuel subsidies, says Nahiti. You can see that on page 2. And lastly, on The Guardian, Obi flays executive criminal mindedness, 6 parliamentary system. You can see that on page 3. Punch this morning is leading with Rivers crisis. Tinubu PDP governor stops Fubara's remover. Protesters arrested. PDP governors excited as Tinubu intervenes. Wike receives Northern Delta leaders. Mom over crisis. Protesters, police clash at Speaker residence. Fubara's kinsmen seek Rivers CP's removal. You can see that on page 2. Below, we have Oyan Dam, Ogun communities panic over fresh flooding. That can be seen on pages 4 and 5. Appeal court clears Silva for BAYELSA post, finds challenger 1 million naira. And you can see that on page 42. And right above the nameplate, we have a federal government budget 552.6 billion naira for arms and anti-terror fight. Lastly, on the Punch newspaper, Lagos secures $1.3 billion for Fort Mainland Bridge and others. You can see that on page 43 of the Punch newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages of the dailies this morning. Join us after the break as our guest will be analyzing some of the stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. Joining us to analyze some of the stories here is Mr. Gbero Olajuigbe. He's the Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Good morning, Mr. Gbero.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being with you.
Yes, Mr. Gbero, let's start from Rivers State. What do you think about the chaos going on in the state?
Well, expected, but too early. Expected in the sense that it has never ended well for those who want to play Godfather in terms of being disappointed by their so-called godson. But that even brings out the ugliness in our democracy. A democracy where an individual, because he occupies the post of the governor, we impose his candidate on the rest of us. It defeats the very essence of democracy. And of course, the same authoritative way it was imposed was the same authoritative way the man who imposed him wanted to depose him. So it is very unfortunate, and that has implication for stability in any society, particularly in this River State, because it has potential to cripple economy, to disrupt political atmosphere, and to trigger violence. But a land that is being resolved, but whether it's resolved or not, is still bound to happen, because you can't have a governor who is an executive governor of the state, the chief security officer of the state, and you want to remove him with impunity just because you have you said that you spent on his election using the state resources. And mind you, where is the equation of people in this? Because as they said, people elected him. Have they consulted the people before removing him? Even though you have a constitutional process of removing a governor. And we have not, even the people have been disregarded to the extent they have not been told the type of gross misconduct the man has done. So, to me, largely, what we are seeing is the ugliness of our democracy. And people should beware of riding at the back of tiger. Because if you do, you can end up being the meat for tiger. Tiger will not spare you just because you rode on his back. And never rejoice yet if you are that type that depend on an individual to uplift you. We should continue to do things normal way. And the governors should not bother about if you have worked, you have done your own. There's no reason to be bothering yourself about who will succeed you. But why they do that is because they are looking for somebody who will cover their corruption and possibly afford them the opportunity of still maintaining political relevance. So what played out in Rivers State yesterday was appalling, was inimical to peace, and of course dangerous to democracy.
Some people are trying to link this to what happened during the presidential election in Rivers, where some PDP members accused Governor Wike of betraying the PDP. So some people are trying to, link it, saying that the PDP loyalists are against the former governor of Rivers State, Wike.
Well, I think what is actually happening, the fact is that the man wants to grow his own teeth. He wants to implement his own project outside the one Wike maybe earlier told him And most importantly, what I think that could be the trigger was the fact that the man wanted to revive Songhai farming, the project that Amechi started. And you know that Wike and Amechi are arch enemies. So I think that is what infuriated Wike. But it's about Rivers people. So that's why I continue to ask, where is the equation of the people? Where is the people in the equation of this unnecessary bikering, ego tripping, revolt? So it's not even about what the PDP party. I think who knows which party Wike even belongs to, whether PDP or APC. It's not clear. But what is clear is that it's in one party now. Of course, maybe I will just say that it's a de jure member of PDP and a de facto member of APC. That is what I can say about him. He's an hermaphrodite as far as today is concerned, because he has diminished his party. He has spoken ill of the party and the members and the leadership, but he has been rewarded for that by the new government of APC. So you should choose. You can't serve God and serve demon, Satan at the same time. You should choose who will be his God. Whether is God in small letter. Likely in no long time to lose his relevance as a political actor, even in Rivers State. The relationship between him and the incumbent governor can never be the same again. And if this incumbent governor is learned in what in 48 law of power, he should know that even if they look for a midway resolution now, he should not count on that. He should grow his own teeth. He should form his own camp. He should influence his own people so as to be in position to resist the onslaught that might come on him later on in his administration. So I think the veil is removed and the string that is holding them together is destroyed. They can only manage themselves. It can never be the same again. I think the governor should realize this and not lose his guide.
On September 2nd, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he called on Nigerians ambassadors, both career and non-career. He told them to return to the country on or before October 31st. And yesterday was the deadline. Some of them are still stranded abroad, and according to Vanguard findings, they can't return because of funds.
Well, they are allowed to japa like any other people. That is what they have done. And how can they say they can't return without funds? But the fact is that Bola Tinubu has responsibility for foreign policy. He knows the direction of his policy, and it's normal with a new president to want to put in a new ambassador. There's nothing strange about it. But it can be done in a way that will not affect the image of Nigeria. For your ambassador to be telling you that he has no fund to return, that means that most of these embassies, they are glorified offices that if the government has not been funding them, and they just some of them is just to banish some politician into Siberia. That's why they appointed them in the first place as ambassador. So most of the embassies are not well funded. They can't even meet up with the welfare of Nigerians in diaspora. Not to talk of that, but it's scandalous for them to say that the ambassador can't return home because there's no money. Is it to buy ticket or to buy what?
No, according to them, according to some of the ambassadors, the last time they funded them in June.
Why did they retain the position? All these excuses will not take. I know that most of our embassies are not well funded. But the fact is that you have accepted it, and if ambassadors are complaining, what of other Nigerian staffs who are workers there, they are equally complaining. That is how we just ridicule ourselves internally and externally. And that if we can't, the fact is that if you can't maintain embassies, why don't you close them up? For example, if in Asia country, if it's only in China you want to have your embassy that can oversee about 2 or 3 more countries, you can do that. And look at how you are going to maximize performance of these people while minimizing costs. But our own, for political expediency, we just appoint ambassadors, high commissioners recklessly. It's just to massage ego of some politician who have might have lost out in election or one way or the other. That's how we do things. We don't care about the consequences of our action, particularly if it is political expedient. And that is how they got there. But being stranded, I beg, I don't want to agree with that. If being stranded means you should return home and everything, they have other things they are not telling us.
No, but
according hand over.
But Mr. Gbero, according to an envoy, you told Vanguard, he said no fewer than 120 ambassadors they are expected to, and each of them is entitled to at least $20,000, and so they need like $2.4 million to recall the diplomats, and they've not given them yet. Apart from that, also this whole country, it takes like 6 months for them to get these people back. And if you send a new envoys, it takes like 6 to 8 months to to screen them and all those things, and they're not ready for that.
Well, I don't know what some ambassadors have been doing. I'm very honest with you, because they have brought shame to Nigeria more than glory. Most of them, they are not on top of foreign policies. Some of them don't even know the type of relationship between Nigeria and the host country and their host country. That has been problem. So most of the impact of our of the ambassadorial expedition has been negative. That is the issue. Most of them are not competent. If you notice, look, footballers will go out and fight for money. Ambassador will be sent out and be talking of money, $20,000. Are they going to use that $20,000 to come home? Can they come home and be fighting it? The fact is that the boss top at the president this thing. I can't challenge him how he manages his foreign policy. But then, I think if that is the normal way of doing it, issue is, are they going, assuming that they don't give them money for 6 months, so they will remain ambassador? Is that what they are saying? Or if they are they going to remain there as ambassador when they are this amounts to withdrawal of their letters of credence. So if their letters of credence have been invalidated by the virtue of their being recalled, so they have no excuse as far as it's concerned. Now, after the deadline, they are no longer ambassadors. That's why I'm saying that maybe they want to just remain there, because most of them have been doing businesses in the host country, taking advantage of the position that have been given to them by the Nigerian state. That is the issue with most Nigerian ambassadors. They are not there for us, for our foreign image. They are not there to live up to the agreement we have with the host countries. And most of them, they are not even professional in most cases. So they are politicians who have found refuge in a more comfortable places in some cases, not in all cases. But if there is anything that should be given to them, the fact is that is and is official and is legitimate. There's no way they will not get it. It's not legitimate. That is where the problem is, because you have a situation in this country, IG will retire, and because the previous IG carted away 20 cars, he will assume, even albeit illegal, he will assume that he has the right to cut it out, cut off another 20 cars from Nigeria. Who does all this thing in the world? If you are recalled as an ambassador, and your recall is time bound. maybe they don't. You have to come and give account. That does not mean that you are not going to be reappointed again. Because I can't except for political reasons. If somebody is working well wherever you are, even if a new person is there, the person is likely to be reappointed. And if you are not reappointed, the umbilical cord is not tied to any of Nigerian embassies abroad. So come home, find life, and if you can't find life, just come home, hand over, and go back. Nobody will prevent you. Because of mere $20,000, ambassador is saying that they can't come home. Does it make sense? Is that not ridiculous? Even to the image of Nigeria. Are they even supposed to say that out? Will you see American ambassador anywhere say that out? After privileging you the position, that ostentation, that position of privilege, and you are saying this about your country there. What do you expect Nigerian students who are on scholarship to say? We can listen to those people that the government is not funding their scholarship and everything, they protest and everything. That shouldn't be the case or reported about ambassador of a country. Okay, so most of them don't know their responsibility and they don't know the type of personal sacrifice they should make for Nigeria image to be brightened.
Imo Bayelsa KOGI governorship elections will hold in less than 15 days. And the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, he says that the results will be uploaded on its results viewing portal. So they've started with the promises again. So do you think this is a second chance for them and for RF?
It should spare us all this narrative. Because we can't be beating twice and we can't be listening to this rhetoric that we eventually come to nothing. So if INEC doesn't know now, it should know that Nigeria has, in fact, has no confidence in INEC again, particularly on the process. Particularly on the process. So me personally, I can only expect let God take control. Let there be no violence. The security should be on top of their game in those areas so as to prevent violence. No Nigerian deserve to die for any of these people that will be elected and continue to punish Nigeria with misgovernance, with corruption, with diverse form of things. Among the governors that were elected in the last general election, who among them is performing well? You can count them on your fingertip, except like a governor of Abia State, Oti, Alesoti, and one or two more persons. Others are telling you that they are not magicians. Is that the campaign slogan when they wanted to come in? So Nigerians should just, in those areas, should make sure that they are safe, that they are secure, and they should behave well. They should not become casualty in somebody else's war. Well, this is off-cycle election. INEC has deflected hope of the people by making this same promise before the general election. What came after that? And even if you read the Supreme Court judgment, he has further empowered.
All right, let's end this on a lighter note with Mr. and Mrs. as we can't get to our guest again because of the network. Now, the first person speaking this morning is Mr. Mr. says, I want a delicious soup with assorted meats like cow leg, cow tail, goat meat, cow eye, liver, kidney, intestine, crabs, shrimps, periwinkle, and 7 different types of vegetable. And Mrs. replied, is that soup or evil forest? I mean, we really need to ask 7 different types of vegetable. We can even forget the old proteins inside. But if you're also talking about proteins, you have to consider that this economy and with dollars are now over 1,000 naira. Mr. must be rich. And this is where we have to draw the curtain. Do well to like and follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Our WhatsApp number is also displayed on your screen. My name is Damlola Opunshaki. Have a lovely Wednesday.